can see him.
Kevin Richard? Okay, Kevin's muted. Bobby Jarrett?
Here.
Mac Arnold?
Here.
XR Royster? Dickie Johnson?
Here.
Gary Gibson?
Here.
Gray Hodge?
Here.
Stacy Denton? Kevin Herron? Frank Boyette?
Here.
Heather Tays? Heather Tays?
Can you read that again somehow and give them some direction?
I'm here.
Thank you. Kevin Richard?
There.
Very good.
Thank
Do
you.
we have a quorum?
We do.
Thank you very much.
And I'm here too.
Oh, Stacy Denton.
Okay, good.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you, Stacy. Okay, we have a rather lengthy agenda, some matters of interest. I would like to propose a reordering of the agenda that might make us, or help us move a little bit more expeditiously. If you would please bear with me, I would like to propose that we first deal with the Heron Bottled Gas Site Plan, the Henry County Ag Extension Office Site Plan. We could then go into public hearing, approving the minutes. Go to the comprehensive plan, which is listed as item 3. Then the rezoning 1172, rezoning 1173, and then deal with the Henderson County zoning text amendment.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Is all in favor of reordering the agenda as presented, let's say yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Any opposed? Very good. Now, if I can remember what I just said, we're going to start with the Heron Bottled Gas Site Plan. Ms. Marks, you're going to help us with that?
Yes. I can find the mouse on here. Heron Bottled Gas Site Plan, submitted by Nathan Heron for the property located in Henderson County, Tennessee, at 2101 South Green Street, being parcel ID number 46-63. The applicant is requesting site plan approval. In your packet, you will see the zoning map, of course, shows that it's heavy industrial, that dark blue there. And then for the site plan, you will see that they are proposing the construction of a 2,500 square foot building for a furniture store. The applicant, as well as their agent, are here if you have further questions for them. We have received all the necessary approvals from the technical advisors. I believe, if you will remember, we subdivided this recently through the preliminary plat process because of its zoning. I think it was just a couple months ago there, but if you guys have any further questions, I can answer those, or they can, either one.
Okay, thank you. Does the commission have any questions for staff? What did you say the proposed use is going to be?
A furniture store.
Okay, very good. Does the commission have any need to hear from the applicants?
Looks pretty straightforward.
Would the applicants like to address the commission? Not necessary, but you may.
Mr. Chairman, he's shaking his head no.
Okay. All right. If no one wants to speak any further to this matter, I'll entertain a motion in regard to the Heron Bottled Gas Incorporated site plan.
I move that we approve the site plan for Heron Bottled Gas at 2101 South Green Street, PID number 46-63.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Kevin Richard?
Yes.
Bobby Jarrett?
Yes.
Mac Arnold?
Yes.
XR Royster?
Yes.
Dickie Johnson?
Yes.
Gary Gibson?
Yes.
Gray Hodge?
Yes.
Stacy Denton?
Yes.
Kevin, Frank Boyette?
Yes.
Heather Tays?
Yes.
Very good, motion passes. Next item on the agenda is the Henderson County Ag Extension Office addition site plan. Ms. Marsh, you have that one as well.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Henderson County Ag Extension Office Addition Site Plan submitted by Henderson County Extension District for the property located in the city of Henderson at 3099 Zion Road, being parcel ID number 66-9. The applicants are requesting site plan approval. In your packet, you will see, of course, where the Ag Extension Office is there. And then I have passed out at your chair, there will be a document that might not look super helpful, but it does highlight the portion that is the addition, because it's not labeled as plainly, so I wanted to make sure you all knew kind of where we're talking about. But for those that are on Zoom, it's where my cursor is there. They are proposing a roughly 4,200 square foot office addition with a pull-through canopy up this way. I believe the majority of the use will be for storage, with a small portion for honeybee activity. And the applicant as well as their agent are here and they can answer further questions on that. But this is another one that's pretty straightforward. We do have all the technical folks' approvals at this time on this one. Just doing this addition here for more storage for them.
Could you identify where the existing structure is?
Yeah, so this right here is the, I don't know, what is this called? The part where they have the meetings, the large meeting room area and stuff kind of behind the actual extension office there. So they have that large meeting area. I don't know what the technical term, maybe the, I don't know what they call it.
The expo center.
The Expo Center, thanks Tim. And they're gonna just do this addition here onto that.
Okay. Does the commission have any questions for staff? Does the commission have any questions for the applicant? Would the applicant care to address the commission in any fashion? I'm hearing no questions from anyone. I'll entertain a motion in regard to the Henderson County Ag Extension Office addition site plan as presented.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the Henderson County Ag Extension Office addition site plan at 3099 Zion Road, the ID number 66-9.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Kevin Richard,
Yes.
Bobby Jarrett.
Yes.
Mac Arnold.
Yes.
XR Royster. Dickie Johnson.
Yes.
Gary Gibson.
Yes.
Gray Hodge.
Yes.
Stacy Denton.
Yes.
Heather Tays.
Yes.
Frank Boyette.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you very much. I'll entertain a motion to go into public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
And we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor of entering public hearing, say yes.
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 Any opposed? Very good. We are now in public hearing. Due to the nature of some of these issues and the crowd that's gathered, I'd like to propose we institute our often used speaking rules. I'll read these and ask for a motion to approve. If the Henderson City County Planning Commission regularly scheduled meeting for 6 p.m. Tuesday, January 7, 2025, has not been sooner concluded and adjourned, it will stop at 9 p.m. and by motion and vote of the Planning Commission be continued and reconvened the following night, Wednesday, January 8, 2025 at 6 p.m. and stop at 9 p.m. And by motion and vote of the Planning Commission be continued and reconvened 6 p.m. and stop at 9 p.m. from night to night thereafter until finished. The Planning Commission wants to hear all evidence, comments, statements, positions, suggestions, and questions, collectively called comments. Each presenter may or may not allow questions during their presentations at their discretion. All general comments will be heard at the end after all presentations by staff and the applicant, unless the chairman elects otherwise or unless changed by vote of the Planning Commission. There will be no time limit on attorneys, and attorneys will present and comment first. We will begin with attorneys, then non-attorneys. Attorneys may ask questions directly. Questions from non-attorneys must be presented to the chairman either verbally or in writing, along with who the question is to be directed to, and the chairman will ask the question. That is, non-attorneys may not ask questions directly. Each non-attorney will initially be given 3 minutes. After every non-attorney has had 3 minutes, if there are non-attorneys who would like additional time, an additional 3 minutes will be given. And this procedure will be repeated until everyone has had an opportunity to present all they desire to present. Speakers are asked to not repeat something another speaker has said, but may come forward and say they agree with one or more other speakers and present anything new they might have. Planning commissioners may comment and ask questions at any time. The chairman will ask for a motion, second, discussion, and vote to approve or change the rules at the beginning of the public hearing, which I am doing right now. Do we have a motion?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor of the speaking guidelines as presented, say yes.
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 Any opposed? Very good. First item under public hearing is the approval of the minutes for the December 3, 2024 meeting. Do I have a motion in regard to approval of the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? All in favor of approval of the minutes, say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? Sorry. Any opposed? Minutes are approved. The next item we're going to deal with is the amendment to the current goals and objectives of the Henderson City County Comprehensive Plan. Mr. Bishop?
Yes, sir. As the Plan Commission members may remember, we've been working on Chapter 10, which is titled Enabling I-69 for a while. The draft goals and objectives are ready for your recommendation. Mr. Friday, please correct me if I'm wrong here. The Plan Commission will recommend these goals and objectives to the Board of Commissioners, the Fiscal Court, and the City Council of Roberts. Once they... Court, sorry, excuse me. Once that is approved, or once they have approval, the Plan Commission will then act on the body of the chapter, which we have been working on. I believe you've seen that. And Mr. Friday, please correct me if I'm wrong. That text and the body of the chapter does not go to the respective legislative bodies. We approve that and we'll bring that once the elected officials have approved the goals and objectives. So what we are approving or recommending for approval tonight are the 3 items you see on the screen. That is the goal and the 3 objectives. You may remember that we met, had a workshop with Ms. Amy Williams of TSW to work through these. And I'll do my best to answer any questions that you may have.
Or for those in the audience who have an interest in this, the comprehensive plan is kind of an overview of what we would prefer to transpire in the future, or what might transpire. We had left a section dealing with enabling I-69 basically empty until we knew exactly where that was going to go and that kind of thing. So that's why we're kind of adding this in to the overall comprehensive plan. Mr. Bishop, could you read that, please?
Yes, sir. Goal, capitalize on the expansion of I-69 to proactively encourage local businesses to provide access to areas for new housing development and attract development that increases quality of life. Objective 1, plan for road and infrastructure improvements to safely move cars, people, bikes, and freight to and from I-69. Objective number 2, support key commercial corridors and districts by drawing people from I-69 to these local destinations through effective access management, clear directional signage, green infrastructure, and visual improvements that build upon the community's identity. Objective number 3, promote housing, commercial, and mixed-use development in areas with access to I-69. Encourage an increased level of design in the areas with higher visibility to reinforce the community's sense of place.
Thank you, sir. Commission have any questions for staff on these goals and objectives? Anyone in the audience like to speak to these proposed goals and objectives? We see a lot of this, as we all well know, see a lot of this construction underway and in place as we speak. No questions or comments from anybody? I'll entertain a motion in regard to the current goals and objectives of the Henderson City County Comprehensive Plan, Chapter 10, Enabling I-69.
We're just making a recommendation to the election
So, yeah, their respective legislative bodies.
Yes.
I'll make that in the form of motion. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Thank you. Kevin Richard,
Yes.
Bobby Jarrett,
Yes.
Mac Arnold,
Yes.
XR Royster,
Yes.
Dickie Johnson,
Yes.
Gary Gibson,
Yes.
Gray Hodge,
Yes.
Stacy Denton,
Yes.
Frank Boyette,
Yes.
Heather Tays.
Yes.
Very good. Motion passes. The next item is rezoning 1172 with the graphic development plan. Ms. Marks?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Rezoning 1172 with a graphic development plan submitted by the City of Henderson for the property located in the City of Henderson at 5845 Airline Road, being parcel ID number 67-77, containing approximately 58 acres. The applicants have submitted a zoning change map amendment with a graphic development plan to rezone from city agricultural to general business. So you will see here, we are talking about the new location of the sports complex. I think we've talked about this on several different occasions here, this location, but this is the lot in discussions. So we would be changing it from ag, which is its current zone, to general business. Let's see, so the reasoning behind, and the city staff's here if you have further questions, the idea is that they have a specific sign and signage that they're wanting to utilize because it is a sports complex and because it will have so many different uses within that one location. And the current sign that they had planned to put out there does not meet sign regulations for the agricultural zone. So one of the best ways that we thought might, moving forward, to be able to allow for that would be rezoning it to general business. And zone, Steve Davis is here with city codes if you have questions on that, but that allows for a commercial center is kind of what it's described as general business, which does allow for the signage. And if you will look in your packets on page 20, that is the sign that we are talking about that they are looking to put there. This right here, where the red line is here, is the location that they are proposing for that sign to go. So to fit in with the city's current zoning ordinance standards, this was kind of the best idea we thought for them to be able to still utilize the area and utilize the sign that way, just bringing it more into compliance with the zoning regulations.
First of all, this is zoned agricultural.
Yes.
This is not a recreational type zone. Was that not discussed?
I believe, which again, this would be maybe Steve Davis, but even the recreational zones wouldn't allow for signage like that. It's really more because of the sign that they're looking to put at that location and how we can make it best fit for that.
Can you show the slide that has an example of the signs?
I don't have that on here. It's in the packet.
Right. Everybody, anybody in the audience want to see what these look like?
So there's been no mention of any commercial use of that property?
Not to our.
Not that we're aware of. And I believe before, the property was deemed a permitted use in the ag zone, which is why there was not a rezoning before.
Okay.
I believe there are 3 entrances to this complex, is that correct? Thank you.
Yeah, you would come up too.
Your name, sir?
Dylan Ward,
Address?
1617 Creek Haven Loop.
You promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And I'll let, if you want to swear her in.
Yes,
too.
yes, by all means.
Hi, Jenna Basham,
And your address?
222 First Street.
And you promise to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Am I correct? There are 3 entrances to this complex,
That's
Correct.
Yes.
and this would be in the middle one,
Correct.
okay?
Right.
Correct. Yeah, that is the main one.
Okay, good. That's all I wanted to clarify in my own case. Any other questions for these folks? Good, thank you, thank you. Anyone else here this evening that would like to speak in favor of this alteration? Anybody have a question about it, or perhaps thinks it's not such a good idea? No further comment and no questions from the commission?
I do have findings of fact whenever you guys are ready for those as well.
I did have one question on the signage,
Please, go ahead.
and I don't know if Dylan can, Xander. So based on the graphic, is the illuminated sign just on one side, or are both sides illuminated? To the same, that 10-foot by 5-foot section that shows the little kid playing baseball, are both sides able to display something like that?
It will only be the one side, and that side will be facing away from Benton Creek, just to clarify. It is dimmable
That
as
was my
well.
question, which direction the illumination was facing, so, okay, thank you.
Yes.
Okay, wait a minute, that brings, so if you're driving out of town, you see it. If you're driving into town, you don't.
Correct. We wanted to keep it away from the brightness issues with the subdivision,
Okay.
as well as if you are leaving town towards the complex, you will see it.
We also expect that most of the traffic will be coming from that direction. We don't, I mean, unless someone, I guess, exits early on a lot of it is coming that way, we expect that the vast majority of the traffic will be coming from town, so.
I would agree.
And-
I'll get it both ways.
Well, we could always add it in the future if we wanted to, potentially, so.
Does the sign move? Okay. You can just change the picture. and-
Well, you mean, well, this part is an LED component. I don't know if we can put videos on there or not. That's a good question. I would imagine.
Dylan's
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, sure. So, I would imagine you probably could. I don't know that for certain. I'll have to check on that. I know that for sure you can change the image like a PowerPoint, but I'm not sure if you can have video on that or not. That's a good question for us to ask.
What is the feasibility of, basically, you've got this side because it's lit, we're trying to keep it away from it. If the other side just had that image and it not being illuminated,
Talking about under the Henderson, Kentucky logo.
yeah, well, either that or like the ball, playing ball or whatever. I mean, just
Yeah.
something there that, doesn't sit, I mean, just a blank.
I imagine, I'll have to dig into it. I don't know if there's backlighting within the sign on those portions or if there's gonna be like uplights from the ground. But I would imagine some way on the back, there will be a way to read it, whether that's, like the Deaconess logo,
Yeah.
like that might have a light inside of it that causes it to still be red at night, but we'll ask about that. At the very least, I would think we would have ground lights that would shine up at it so that you could read it on the back side, if that answers your question.
Well, what I meant was, it's proper, because the way I understood you first said there was going to be nothing on the backside. It's just a blank.
Oh, no, so the one on the right side of the screen is the back side of the screen. There just wouldn't be an LED component on it.
Or decorative.
That's fine, yeah.
Yeah, and we may,
I misunderstood that.
yeah, we may, and we probably will change, there's a big green space under there, so we may put some, and full disclosure, we'll have to work with our naming rights sponsor to come up with a quote-unquote logo for the facility. So if you see it there, you see Deaconess's logo, you see our logo, and then you see the word sports park. The actual verbiage of that may differ slightly as we try to actually come up with a branding for the sports complex.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Thank you all. Appreciate it. Anybody else want to speak to this? You have findings of fact, I believe, proposed?
Rezoning 1172 with a graphic development plan submitted by the City of Henderson for the property located in the City of Henderson at 5845 Airline Road, being parcel ID number 67-77, containing approximately 58 acres. The applicants have submitted a zoning change map amendment with a graphic development plan to rezone from city agricultural to general business. A proposed motion could be that I move that the Planning Commission recommend that the Henderson Board of Commissioners, the city, approve rezoning application 1172, changing the zoning classification from agricultural district to general business for the subject property. And I leave the motion open for other members of the Planning Commission to add findings of fact in support of this motion, because the proposed rezoning is in agreement with the future land use map of the comprehensive plan as it shows the area developing in a commercial nature.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? If there are no other comments or questions, I'll entertain a motion regarding rezoning 1172 with a graphic development plan.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to take that motion that was just proposed, make that my final motion in approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Kevin Richard,
Yes.
Bobby Jarrett,
Yes.
Mac Arnold,
Yes.
XR Royster,
Yes.
Dickie Johnson,
Yes.
Gary Gibson,
Yes.
Gray Hodge,
Yes.
Stacy Denton,
Yes.
Frank Boyette,
Yes.
Heather Tays.
Yes.
Very good, motion passes. We have moved to rezoning 1173. This is an assignment of a zoning classification in conjunction with annexation. Mr. Bishop, would you like to get it started?
Yes, sir. This is submitted by Kevin and Robin Knight and Allison Evelyn for the property located in the the county of Henderson at 648 Glenwood Dale, being parcel ID number 64B-35, containing approximately 1.8365 acres for the subject area, and 656 South Glenwood Dale, parcel ID number 64B-36, containing .9183 acres for the subject area. The subject areas are currently zoned county residential R1, and the staff is recommending city residential R1 zoning classification for the subject area. You may remember that the city will initiate the process. Once they have decided that they would like to annex a piece of property, they send it to the planning commission, which we will assign zoning, well, a recommendation on zoning assignment that goes back to the Board of Commissioners, and they will have final say. The county R1 zone is very similar to the city R1 zone. Both are primarily going to allow one-family residences, so we feel like that's a very easy recommendation from county R1 to city R1. And we have proposed findings of fact if the planning commission so chooses. And one thing I would request, we had an email sent from a neighbor who could not make it. So, Mr. Chairman, if you're agreeable, I'd like to read that into the record.
At some point, yes.
Okay.
I want to make sure we understand what our task is here this evening. The city commission has already voted to annex this property, is that correct?
They voted to start the process.
Okay. They voted in favor of starting the process of annexation. Our task is to hold a public hearing on what to zone it once it's been annexed.
Correct.
It's in a county zone, obviously now, would have to be a city zone in the future if annexed. A decision made by the city commission, correct? Very good. Why don't you, first of all, I think probably you should see if anybody wants to speak in favor of this zoning classification. No one at this point? Okay, then we'll see if there's anyone who'd like to question it or perhaps speak otherwise. We do have this submittal via email from a citizen who was unable to attend this evening due to the conditions that we have all been dealing with. So, Brian, why don't you go ahead and read this, we get it on the record and part of the record.
This is submitted by Stacy Banks. First, I would like to apologize for being unable to attend this scheduled meeting as I had planned. I am still without power to my home due to the ice storm Sunday night, so I'm dealing with that. Also, excuse any typos or grammar issues as I am typing this email from my cell phone, which is less than ideal. I would like my questions and concerns to go on the record for consideration as the property owner that is adjacent to the subject properties. They are as follows. One, the letter I received from the Henderson City County Planning Commission dated December 16, 2024 was very general and did not make any logical sense as to why the request was being made. I had to do further research to try and understand the underlying circumstances leading to the request. Number two, in research, I was able to ascertain that the request is coming from the current property owners in contemplation of a sale of their properties to the mayor of Henderson that would like to buy the property to serve as his primary residence. However, because as mayor, he must live in the city, the property he wants to buy must be in the city. So it appears in order to meet the requirement, a rezoning request of the subject property or properties from county residential to city residential needs to be approved for the sale to go through. Three, as I understand, no city services will be expected to be provided even after the rezoning, which begs the question why rezoning is to be done, other than to provide a loophole for the mayor to buy a home he wants and continue to serve as mayor. Is that really how zoning works? I believe this sets a bad precedent as it implies the city's mayor can live anywhere if he or she has property rezoned. This is effectively getting an exception to the rule by exerting his power, or this power, excuse me. Number 5, this proposal to address the mayor's situation is a very long-term solution to a relatively short-term problem. The properties will forever be zoned city, but will not be the mayor, but he will not be the mayor or even who owns these properties forever. When the properties are sold, it becomes someone else's problem. Even worse, the city starts advocating for further rezoning of the rest of our properties because same but different. I'd like to understand the options. Excuse me, I'd like to understand the options other than this that were considered to determine that this is the best solution. It seems if we are looking to grant an exception for one guy, could we just grant that? Could we just grant one that doesn't require permanent property rezoning to be done that could potentially impact others now or in the future? Perhaps the city could offer a one-time exemption to their residents rule without impacting city-county lives. What assurances do we have that this new or future property owner aren't going to complain about the lack of city services received for the oddly rezoned property request rezoning for everyone else in order to receive them? Per the letter I received, no one outside the proposed real estate transactions from the entire Grantwood subdivision has requested rezoning of their property from county residential to city residential. How does it make sense to rezone these two specific properties other than the political motivation that seems to be in play? I can't help but be concerned it will not stop there. Obviously, I'm not in favor of this request as proposed. I solemnly affirm that the evidence to be given by me shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. I intend for this email to serve as my digital signature. Thank you for listening to my concerns and for your kind consideration. Sincerely, Stacy Banks, 698 Glenwood Drive, Henderson, Kentucky. Email address stabank_ky@ymail.com.
Very good, thank you. Does the commission have any questions on this matter?
I have a question for our attorney. Refresh my memory. The rest of the people in Grantwood Hills subdivision cannot be annexed unless they agree to be annexed.
That's not accurate, but
It's almost correct.
it's almost correct. That's as good as any. I would go on for a minute or so to say exactly what you've said. It's very difficult if
Okay.
the residents don't request.
In this case, we have residents that have requested annexation. That's what started this thing, correct?
That's what this is.
No, I'm just trying to address the concerns that she raises in her email.
Any other questions or observations? Anyone else like to speak to this issue? Yes, please. Your name, sir?
Good evening, David Littrell.
Your address?
620 Glenwood Drive.
You promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Very good. Go ahead, sir.
So really, my only, is not really a concern. I am the neighbor that is right next to the wooded property that is going to be annexed as well. I just want to go on record that I do not personally want my property at 620 Glenwood Drive ever annexed into the city. The only thing, I want to welcome the mayor. I hope he enjoys the property. We did just get our power back on, so yeah, it's a nice area. So again, I just want that to go on record that I do not object his coming in or the annexation, but I want to make it on record that I do not want to be annexed into the city.
Very good. I think you've made that perfectly clear. Any questions for this gentleman?
Sorry.
Okay, I don't think so. Thank you, sir. Anyone else like to speak to this issue? Please.
Good evening.
Your name, sir?
Darren Dockmeyer,
And your address?
3298 Parkside Drive.
You promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Yes.
I'm also a neighbor down there on in that area. And I want to go on record saying that I do not want to be annexed. We're happy being in the county, and we just want to be on record saying we do not want to be annexed.
Very good. Any questions for this gentleman? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
My name is Lee Putnam, I live at 639 Woodwood Drive.
You promise to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, sir?
I do.
Please proceed.
And I wanted to go and say I'm totally against this annexation too. For one reason, I don't really understand why we can do this for one piece of property. I mean, this Greenwood was developed in the 1950s. And we all knew that when we moved in there, this was in the county. And we do not want to be annexed or even start a precedent of annexing everybody. And I just didn't understand, you know, the litigation about how you could just do one piece of property without having ramifications of other residents.
Any questions for this gentleman? Thank you, sir. Would it be helpful if, could somebody explain this annexation process, how it starts, how it proceeds, how it comes to us, and what our role is again? Would that be helpful or not? Counselor, is that something you could
I
provide?
believe it would be, because, no, how can you bring something in the county that's not wanting to, I mean, city that's not wanting to come in, and then, I mean, I need more detail to get what we get.
This does not bring anyone into the city. The city is only that has not requested it. The only property being annexed have requested to be annexed. And that does not affect the adjoining property. And as Frank stated earlier, annexing this property where the property owner requested to be annexed does not make it easier for the city to annex other property.
In other words, you're saying that get that one lot is requesting to be annexed to the city,
Correct.
and that don't affect none of the other lots.
That's correct. It's two lots, but.
Two lots, but it
same.
don't affect all the other lots.
Correct.
Brian, I got a question. Can, at a future date, can this be annexed back into the county?
Not that I'm aware of. A de-annexation process?
Yeah.
I would lean on Mr. Friday for that definitive answer, but my understanding is no.
Basically, you'd have to dissolve the city of Henderson.
I'm not sure that's the case. It's been years since I looked at that statute, since I was city attorney of the city of Seabury. I think there is a way, but I've never seen it done. It's extremely complicated. If it can be done, I don't know.
I just be curious whether, if that would help to satisfy the joint property owner.
Mac, I would agree with TJ. I'm not aware of a way, which TJ has way more experience, but I've never seen it in my time.
What has to happen if property owners object to being annexed? How can that,
I didn't hear you.
well, what if a property owner doesn't want to be annexed? Can they be annexed?
It's almost impossible.
Well, what steps, what does it take?
I'm not the city attorney, and it's been years since I addressed this.
Okay.
So to be specific, answer your question specifically, I would have to do research. And remember, we are only holding a public hearing and making a recommendation. Those questions should be taken up with the city.
Good point, I'm sorry. Yes, our job here is just to assign a zone. Right?
It's fairly unusual that I do understand this, but I frankly do, and it takes a lot to annex property. without the property owner requesting to be.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from the commission? Anyone else in the audience have something they'd like to bring up on this?
Well, our job seems pretty clear. We just make a recommendation for the rezoning if it were to be annexed. We're not annexing.
Correct.
I mean,
So
if it-
that's kind of a no-brainer.
If it's annexed, it cannot have a county zone, obviously, right? Okay. Are we clear as what the question is? I think we have findings of fact.
Yes, sir.
Maybe it'd be a good time to do that.
Rezoning 1173, assignment of zoning classification in conjunction with annexation. Kevin and Robin Knight and Allison Edlin have requested that the Planning Commission hold a public hearing recommending a zoning classification and amending the comprehensive plan for the properties located in Henderson County at 634 Glenwood Dale, being parcel ID number 64B-35, containing approximately 1.8365 acres for the subject area, and 656 South Glenwood Dale, parcel ID number 64B-36, containing 0.9183 acres for the subject area. The subject areas are currently zoned county R1, and staff is recommending city R1 zoning classification for the subject area. I move that the Planning Commission recommends that the city of Henderson assigns a residential R1 zoning classification to this subject parcel, and that the comprehensive plan be amended to include the area on the city zoning map, which is to be annexed into the city, and if, when the city assigns zoning classification following applicable laws, that such zoning classification be appropriately shown in the comprehensive plan and the future land use map. And I'll leave the motion open for other members of the Planning Commission to add findings of fact in support of this motion.
Okay. Any other questions from anyone? Comments? I'll entertain a motion in regard to rezoning 1173, the assignment of a zoning classification in conjunction with annexation.
Well, I'll make the motion that we adopt the language just read by our planning director.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. The motion would recommend the assignment of a city residential woman, R1 zoning classification to the subject area. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Kevin Richard,
Yes.
Bobby Jarrett,
Yes.
Mac Arnold,
Yes.
XR Royster,
Yes.
Dickie Johnson,
Yes.
Gary Gibson,
No.
Gray Hodge,
Yes.
Stacy Denton,
Yes.
Frank Boyette,
Yes.
Heather Tays.
No.
Is that everybody?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Next item on the agenda is the Henderson County zoning text amendment. Mr. Bishop, I think you're going to help with that one.
Yes, sir. As you may have heard, the Henderson County Fiscal Court has requested that the Planning Commission hold a public hearing to amend Section 30 of the Henderson County zoning ordinance. The proposed language and resolution is in your packet, and further explanation from the county judge when that was sent to the Planning Commission staff. The language would only affect level 2 solar systems, which are commonly called solar farms, and would not affect level 1 solar systems, and that those are typically more private or commercial use, and that it's for the property itself that it would be located on, and not so for a commercial purpose back into the grid. This would also not affect the previous site plans that the Planning Commission approved and previous building permits that have been issued. And we have the text on the screen. Mr. Chairman, if you'd like, would you like me to go ahead and read the text now or wait?
Yes, let's go ahead.
Okay. Article 30.04 moratorium. The remainder of this article and all other ordinances notwithstanding, there is hereby imposed a moratorium on the filing, processing, review, and acceptance by the Henderson County Fiscal Court, the Henderson City County Planning Commission, the Henderson County Board of Zoning Adjustment, or any other department, subdivision, agency, board, commission of Henderson County government, or any and all applications for rezoning, conditional use, permits, or other types of applications for level 2 solar energy systems installations. This moratorium shall remain in effect until February 1, 2027, or once the amendments to this article, if any, are approved by the Henderson County Fiscal Court, whichever comes first, unless repealed or extended.
We also have in the packet the resolution passed by fiscal court as they developed this amendment. Everybody's had access to that. You can see that it was unanimously passed by fiscal court. Commission have any questions for staff at this point? Do you have anyone here who'd like to speak in favor of this text amendment? Yes.
I am David Sellers. I'm mayor of Roberts.
Your address?
And this is Ed Carroll. He's one of our commissioners.
Okay. I need your address, sir.
Of 1130 2nd Street, Roberts.
And do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Yes. And you, sir?
Ed Carroll, and I live at 1214 Railroad Street in Roberts.
You promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Very good. Thank you. Please proceed.
Okay. Due to the concern of the influx of thousands of solar panels and thousands of acres of solar farm into our county and our community, we want to keep the integrity of our city of Roberts and maintain the quality of life in the city of Roberts. We have, our city commission has passed an ordinance hoping not to have anything zoned other than residential or agriculture. And I think you've probably seen this, but we want to go on record as putting this, read into the record of this ordinance. Ed, I'm going to ask if you would.
Help you to have the copy.
Would you have a
of this?
copy of this? Would you like to have a copy?
Yeah, I think that'd be good if you have
Okay.
it, please. And then, yes, somebody needs to read it into the record for us.
Mr. Chairman, we had provided the Plan Commission members this
Yes.
before.
Yes.
But I think I agree it's a good idea to have one for the record.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, obviously, we're in favor of moratorium. You know, anything that will help us stop this great influx into our county. And we're not just concerned about it for our city or our community. We're concerned about it for our county because there's just a great influx of solar panels. And before I read this ordinance, I would like to ask you if you've never been to visit these solar panels, please come out and visit, drive a few roads and see what they're like in this area. This is an ordinance of the city of Roberts declaring intended use and purpose for land within city limits. The city commission of the city of Roberts does hereby declare as follows. Whereas in order to promote public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community, to facilitate orderly and harmonious development and the visual character of the community, and to regulate the density of population and intensity of land use, in order to provide for adequate light and air. And whereas in order to provide for vehicular, fire, and police protection, and to provide the overcrowding of land, blight, danger, and congestion in the circulation of people and commodities, and the loss of life, health, or prosperity from fire, flood, and other dangers. And whereas to protect roads and other transportation facilities, public facilities, residences, agricultural uses, and other specific uses which warrant special protection by the community. Now therefore it is the intent of the city of Roberts to affirm and support the position that any zoning district to be set within the city of Roberts be designated as either agricultural or residential as defined by the zoning chapter of the Code of Ordinances of the County of Henderson, Commonwealth of Kentucky, inasmuch that this ordinance does not otherwise conflict with any governing authority within the county of Henderson. This was voted the 7th day of October, 2024, and it was a unanimous vote. Again, we just provide that into the record.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Anything else?
Any questions?
Yes, had y'all got internet inside the city limit?
Had what now?
Internet solar panel inside the city?
There is a, one field, I think, is inside, is that right, Ed? One field is
About
inside.
how many acre around Robert had y'all got solar?
Around Roberts?
Yeah.
It's about 5,000 plus, am I right?
Close to 5,000.
Yeah,
I believe if you count the Webster County.
Yeah.
okay, in that, yeah,
Yeah.
it's in that area. And I think the total for Henderson is 6,000 plus.
Slightly over 6,000. That counts the two in the Roberts area and the one along 425.
I would really,
One, yeah, but the one on 425 hadn't been put up yet.
Correct.
Okay, I was saying.
I'm sorry, I'd really urge you like I say, if you get the chance, drive out some of these roads and check out the solar panels. It's taking prime agricultural farmland, it's taking habitat, wildlife habitat, it's taking visual, the visual, what am I trying to say? Visual beauty of the land, the ambiance of the land, and so on.
And I've got a question for the board here. When this moratorium is lifted, because we don't have any control over the planning and zoning other than the appeals we make to this body. If once this moratorium, in the 2 years' time, it could be rescinded and then we're back again where Roberts is vulnerable to anybody who applies for a solar farm within the city limits. So is there any way we could have this ordinance actually incorporated into the county's solar ordinance by way of reference or something such that in the future, even if the moratorium is lifted, then this would stand in the way this would stand as a way to protect Roberts from any future solar panels. So we don't have to revisit this every time.
Okay. Good question. Counselor?
This hearing is limited to the moratorium. So that question might be better taken up with the county and maybe a meeting with the planning commission. But it can't be addressed tonight. Your comments, it's a public hearing, you can pretty much say what you want to. You could be limited to what the subject matter is. We didn't choose to do that, but we can't address your request inside what's being done. Is that, you understand?
Understandable, sure. But as long as the board recognizes what we feel and what a vast majority of our citizens feel, yeah.
It appears the county understands that, which is why they've recommended
Right.
this moratorium.
Exactly.
And we're here to hold a public hearing
Okay.
for the county.
And
And make a
and
recommendation.
the main thing we're attempting to do is if, in the future, if we're unsuccessful to get this incorporated into the county's solar ordinance, then we would hope this body would always recognize what the community at large is saying in reaction to any more solar panels within the city limits. We just absolutely don't want it. So,
I think you've made
We're
that
here-
perfectly
We're here to
clear.
listen to you, but that's not what we're doing.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine, we understand that.
Well, we're happy to hear
Sure.
from you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
As we're-
Any questions you have for us?
Any other questions, these gentlemen from the commission?
Being they are a city, don't they set their own zoning up inside their city?
Mr. Chairman Gibson, so they have not incorporated in the same way as the city of Henderson or the city of Cardin has. So at this point, they still fall under the county's umbrella as far as,
Yes, they fall under.
which I believe they made reference to in their letter. So for them to have their own zoning ordinance, they would have to create their own zoning ordinance, have their own zoning administrator, their own board of zoning adjustment. And my understanding is that's an undertaking the city of Roberts probably doesn't have the funds to, or the desire to do.
I know the city of Hardin got their own zoning.
Correct. Because it's an incorporated
But
city.
they
that is
also
adopted.
belong to here.
Yep.
Good question. Anything else you'd like to share with us, gentlemen?
Appreciate it. I think that's all. Thanks for letting us address you.
Thank you, thank you. Anyone else here this evening that'd like to address a question of this proposed amendment? Yes, by all means. Your name, sir?
Kyle Gerke,
Your address?
6212 144th Street, Wheaton Water, Nebraska,
Okay.
68463.
You promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Good. How can we help you?
I'm here with Tenaska Inc., and we are partnered with Fidelio Power, developing a renewable project within the county called Rock Bluff Energy Park. I've got a prepared statement here about the zoning text amendment that I'm reading to the record. Rock Bluff is seeking an exemption to the proposed 2-year moratorium on level 2 solar energy systems for a project proposed on properties with a surface mining zoning designation. Redevelopment of these reclaimed mine areas with renewable energy will be a productive use consistent with the Henderson City County Comprehensive Plan and the greater energy goals and objectives of the Kentucky Energy and Environment Cabinet. The surface mining properties are differentiated from other land classifications within the county, and the concerns observed at the level 2 solar energy system installations being constructed under the existing Henderson County zoning ordinance, Article XXX, are either not applicable or would be avoided based on higher scrutiny and regulation resulting from the historical land use. Water drainage is a key aspect of the reclamation and bond release process regulated by the county and the Kentucky Department of Natural Resources Division of Mine Reclamation and Enforcement. Any proposed change to the post-mining land use will require the submittal of a major revision to the Division of Mine Permits to address the post-mining land use change. Implementation of a solar energy post-mining land use would generally fall under the industrial commercial post-mining land use. Major revisions would undergo review by multiple departments and require advertisement in the newspaper and largest circulation of the county or counties in which the permit is located in. Due to the historical use of the properties with surface mining zoning designations, the areas are relatively undeveloped, so there is low population density and few county-maintained roads and thus traffic. This significantly reduces the concerns for glare and the need for vegetative screening. Please consider this request as you develop the proposed text amendment to introduce a 2-year moratorium into the Henderson County Solar Ordinance and make the recommendation to the fiscal court. We think the redevelopment of the reclaimed surface mine properties would bring numerous benefits to the participating property owners and the local community.
Thank you. Any questions for the gentleman from the commission? Yes, Counselor.
Do you have a map that designates the area that you are proposing?
We've got a map that shows the current county zoning.
Yes, Jennifer's pulling that, but I want to make sure that is just a zoning map. That is not anything that shows the properties they are looking at.
That's not my question.
Okay. Hold on one second. So they have not provided the staff any direction on the properties that they are looking at as far as which parcels would be leased, which would be constructed on. So we have no way to validate the items that Kyle just said, that it would only affect a few county roads. It wouldn't, there's no measurable way for us to see that.
They've been out here, I know, like at least 2 years.
What's that?
Y'all been in the area at least 2 years?
Correct.
And how many acres of ground do y'all have under contract to this date, before this ordinance went into effect?
For the ordinance, for any type of renewable energy development, or, because I guess we're here tonight to just talk about the solar aspect.
Yeah.
And the solar, the request that we are making is specific to properties that are currently zoned surface mining, which are shown on this map.
So one thing to address there, they would not stay surface mining.
Correct.
They would be rezoned, so that argument is not really valid. The other thing is the county zoning ordinance, and Randy's here to address it in greater detail. During the reclamation process, they are required to go back to pastured land, farmland, so it's not just reuse surface mine. You're taking more crops out of rotation because they are legally required and bonded to be prime farmland as defined by the county zoning.
Yeah, that's the major permit modification we talked about, is you would have to rezone or change the post-mining land use to solar, or to industrial, to allow that development of solar on those properties.
And one thing too, the Plan Commission should know, the fiscal court specifically addresses the Plan Commission, the Codes Department via permits and Board of Zoning Adjustment. I don't believe we have the authority to say that one project's exempt, because we don't have authority over those other departments as well.
But how does that zoning change take effect from making it surface mine to agricultural or whatever it becomes after that?
My understanding, and it's been a while since, Randy may have a better answer, is that it's one of two ways. It would have to be rezoned back to agricultural once all the bonds and reclamation is complete, or there could be a caveat in the zoning ordinance that automatically reverts it back to ag via the surface mining.
Yeah, it'd be two different things, right? One's an
Yes.
active and one's a passive.
Yes, correct. And I don't know that off the top of my head. I apologize.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have the text in front of me, but it sounded to me like what they are requesting is that if it is zone surface mine, that's the only land that they're asking be exempted. Is that correct?
That is correct.
That all property with that zoning is what you're proposing?
Yes, that there would be basically an exclusion or carve out for properties that are currently zoned surface mining within this moratorium.
Okay.
How many
We see-
acres is
And
that?
then we see in gray, what am I looking at on the screen?
Yeah, that's accurate.
What's gray there are the
Okay.
parcels that are currently zoned.
You're proposing
Surface mining.
you're proposing an exemption to cover all of that property.
Correct. We don't have a lease on all of those properties, but that was the, I guess, easiest mechanism we thought to provide the use that we're looking for, that would allow these properties to be developed for solar in the future.
Okay. Any other questions for this gentleman?
Aren't you kind of getting the cart before the horse there? I mean, if you're asking to rezone property that you don't have any control over?
We're not asking to rezone the properties. We're just asking that this moratorium basically have a carve out for properties that are currently zoned surface mining, such that within that 2-year moratorium period, if we wanted to come forward with a
Well,
permit
yeah, I
application.
misspoke there,
Okay.
but
We are here to represent Henderson County and the Henderson City, too. And they are the ones that make up the rules. We could go along with the zone after they make the rules. Do they approve that, not approve what they recommend? So we don't recommend to the county and the city what they should do.
We can.
We can, but I mean, they the one that's responsible for that, county.
They have the final say.
And
Commissioner Gibson, in this case, they originated this text.
Yeah.
KRS statute dictates that the Plan Commission or the fiscal court in this case can originate the zoning text. This came directly from the fiscal court.
but they recommended a moratorium. that,
Yes, sir.
Not exempt.
They
They
asked
can
us-
exempt if they want to, but until they, no.
I guess the question would be, have you approached the county about this?
We've had conversations with the county about this as well, and they recommended that we present it to you guys as well.
Okay, other questions for this gentleman? Okay. We might need you back. Thank you. Anyone else like to share anything? Yes, please. Your name?
Randy Tassa,
Address?
1990 Barrett Court, Suite H.
You promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Good.
One of the questions that came up was about if they tried to change the use of the coal mine property. I was looking through the zoning ordinance, and this is something that, since my 19 years of doing this job, we have not had any new surface mining come in, so it's a little unfamiliar for me, but I was reading the ordinance. It has a section D under 2706 post-mine land use. This is criteria for approving alternative post-mining land uses. Change from one to another land use category or subcategory of pre-mining to post-mining constitutes an alternate land use, and the applicant shall meet the requirements of this regulation and all other applicable provisions of this article. An alternative post-mining land use shall be approved by the Henderson City County Planning Commission after consultation with the landowner if the criteria of this regulation is met. So they would have to come back with you if they were going to do something that's a little different than what they had initially submitted for the surface mine, from what I'm understanding of the zoning ordinance.
Okay.
For alternate use that was originally proposed.
Okay. Sounds like they have to come back to us in the event then.
But this is new to me because I've not seen a surface mine come in my 19 years, so
Okay.
that's what the ordinance says in it.
Any other questions for this gentleman? Thank you, sir. Anyone else like to speak to this matter? Commissioners have any further comment?
I have a question, and I don't know even who to address this to, but is this the proper forum to ask for the exemption on the moratorium? Yeah, please.
They are asking the planning commission to recommend an exemption to fiscal court.
Thank you.
And why would we do that? Just because they asked us? I mean, from what I'm hearing, they want to have free reign on all property that's been strip mined.
Commissioner Dixon, I'm sorry, Chairman Dixon, may I add something real quick?
Yes, sir.
So doing a quick dirty math of GIS of all the properties on surface mine in Henderson County comes out to be 12,899 acres that they're requesting an exemption on.
I can't go for that, particularly since they have no control over that property.
Can I address that?
Yes, by all means.
I guess two things there. One, on the control, we do have a renewable energy lease on the majority of that. We don't have it all under lease. The other
Can you show us
component,
what parts you have control over? What parts you have leases on?
we have a lease with Penn Virginia Operating Company, LLC, which is
That's
the majority,
The vast
the majority of that property.
How many acres do you have?
Like 14,000. But they've got, some of their properties aren't zoned, or aren't in this specific area either. The other aspect of that, we're not asking for free reign on this property. Any project that we brought forward would still have to meet the existing requirements of the current ordinance. So it would just allow a project to proceed during this 2-year period if it's proposed on these properties.
Okay, are we clear as to the request? Okay, thank you, sir. Anyone else wants to speak to this issue? Would it be helpful to reread this proposed amendment? Mr. Bishop, could you do that for us again?
Yes, sir. Give me 1 second.
That's also, this is, the whole proposed amendment is this one paragraph, correct?
Correct.
All the rest of the packet is their resolution in support of that.
Article 30.04 moratorium. The remainder of this article and all other ordinances notwithstanding There is hereby imposed a moratorium on the filing, processing, review, and acceptance by the Henderson County Fiscal Court, the Henderson City County Planning Commission, the Henderson County Board of Zoning and Adjustment, or any other department, subdivision, agency, board, or commission of Henderson County government, of any and all applications for rezoning, conditional use, permits, or other types of applications for level 2 solar energy system installations. This moratorium shall remain in effect until February 1st, 2027, or once the amendments to this article, if any, are approved by the Henderson County Fiscal Court, whichever comes first, unless repealed or extended.
Thank you, Mr. Bishop. Any other questions or comments on this matter? No one has anything else to say?
Would this be something that we should either table or whatever, until the county can either decide if they want to, exempt the strip line area for it?
Well, I see on this right here, the county recommends nothing for until 2 years, nothing. You know. So we'd be going against what they plan on doing if we didn't mess with this right here. They recommended nothing until February 1st, 2027, moratorium.
I guess what I was thinking, that they could either, they wanted to really look at that and, moratorium and everything except the strip line area. If that's what they're interested in. If they're not, that's fine, but I just was gonna say, give them the option if it's something that needs to be considered. For me, like I say, strip line area was where all the solar systems should have been anywhere else. All the prime agricultural land is just, it's ridiculous to have that, loss of that for that.
I agree.
Okay. Other comments, observations?
I guess just to clarify, to me, I see three potential motions, either a motion to approve the text as written, motion to not approve the text as written, or a motion to ask the fiscal court to exempt or make an exemption or make edits based on our thoughts for edits. But if I understand, that would be the three possible motions.
Or any other recommendation.
Any other recommended changes to the, if others were being contemplated?
And remember, this record is going to the county for them to consider.
Any other questions or information anybody like to add? Or any information that anybody needs? If we've heard all we're going to hear, then I'll entertain a motion in regard to the Henderson County zoning text amendment as presented this evening.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to recommend to the county approval of Henderson County zoning text amendment, section 30.04, read into the record by Mr. Bishop.
Second.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to recommend approval of the text amendment as presented without exemption. Correct? That motion?
Yes.
Okay. Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion say yes. Oh, wait, excuse me, call the roll.
Yeah.
Thank you. Kevin Richard,
Yes.
Bobby Jarrett,
Yes.
Mac Arnold,
Yes.
XR Royster,
Yes.
Dickie Johnson,
Yes.
Gary Gibson,
Yes.
Gray Hodge,
No.
Stacy Denton,
Yes.
Frank Boyette,
Yes.
Heather Tays.
Abstain.
Is that everybody?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes with one abstention. Thank you very much. Let's get back to the agenda here. We are on to, I need a motion to leave public hearing. So
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Very good. All in favor of leaving public hearing, say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? We're out of public hearing. The next item would be the December finance report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As looking at our finances, you have those, each of you have the finance report. We are 6 months into our fiscal year, and we are at 15%. So I would say we're doing very, very well, staying on track. And if you have any questions, just let me know.
Any questions for staff concerning the finance report? If there are no questions, I'll entertain a motion. Motion to approve has been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor of approving the finance report, say yes.
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 Any opposed? Finance report approved. The next item, is the bond report. Ms. Marks.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you'll see in front of you, we do have two projects up for either release or extension. The first one is the Greystone subdivision. The recommendation is that we extend that bond for 1 year, but we can decrease the amount based on construction costs now to the $58,170. And then the second is the Jimmy John's project. They have completed, I'm sure most of you have seen that they are open, the work is complete, we can release the bond. As you all know, with sidewalks, we do need to send that to the city so that they will accept it into maintenance. So that will be the next step on that one, if you all are good with me moving forward on that bond as well.
Any questions concerning the bond report? I'll entertain a motion in regard to the bond report.
Mr. Chairman, make a motion to accept the bond report as submitted.
Second. Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Bond report has been approved. We have some administrative business, I think, Mr. Bishop.
Yes, sir. 2 items. We addressed it slightly earlier with the goals and objectives. Once the legislative bodies approve the goals and objectives, we plan to bring the full chapter back. Hopefully, those folks get that done rapidly, and we do that in February. But if not, that will be in March. We will make sure we email you that body of text so you can read. I believe you already have it, but we'll send it again just to be safe. But please look forward to that coming. And the last item is, thanks to Rhonda's recommendation, I believe we will be moving forward on direct deposits for the Planning Commission members' payment and for the Planning Commission staff's payment. So Rhonda, do you care to let them know what's going to be required, please?
Sure. In your paperwork, you have an ACH deposit approval form. I just need all of that information, and this will occur on the quarterly payments that you're currently receiving, but you're currently receiving them via paper check. We feel that it's more efficient and a secure method of payment to have them direct deposited. I don't know what other people feel about it, but I think it's going to be a good move into what a lot of people are doing right now. Sometimes I think we're a little archaic.
Wanda, will you make sure I'm saying this correctly? There's still oversight on the amount that's paid.
Yes.
There will still be 2 signatures required via the executive committee or the director.
Correct.
So that there's no circumvention of how the amount is dictated, but the delivery method is coming into the 21st century.
You're still going to need signatures, right?
Yes.
From executive committee members.
Correct.
Yeah, our 3 signers will still be able to look at that and make sure that we are doing it correctly.
It doesn't negate any oversight process.
Okay, good, thank you. Any questions from the commission on this? Anybody?
Well, on that form, is that something that can be emailed out?
Absolutely,
Thank you.
yes. I can get that to you tomorrow. And in the letter that I've attached to that, once you get your form filled out, you can either mail it to me. I did put a copy of my business card on the paperwork. You can either mail it to me, email it to my email address, or you can visit us at the office in person to turn it in. So,
Rhonda, do you have a
This-
date on which you would like to start?
yes, this is going to start on our first quarter payment, which should be the end of March, the 1st of April. So you have a little time to think about it, but I would encourage you to not forget about it, or I'll be hunting you down. So I hope that everyone agrees with this and that they feel like it's going to be a better process. There will be no lost checks. Everybody is just gonna automatically go into your account. And in the approval form, I also have your email address, and I'll be able to email you something that shows this is what you're getting. So it'll be like your check stub.
Do we need to take any kind of official action to make these changes?
I don't believe so, but a vote of confidence would not hurt our feelings.
Well, I mean, that's the reason
Yes.
Well, I think we should vote on it. There might be some folks who have a problem with this. There might be some folks who want to be archaic.
Sorry. Maybe I used the wrong word.
Yeah, I've been told worse than that.
Traditional.
I'll put it in the form of motion that we go to the electronic deposits.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor of this transition, say yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Any opposed? No one is opposed, so we will begin this new process. Thank you, Ms. Thompson, for your leadership on this. Other business?
No, sir.
Anyone here have any other business they'd like to bring forward tonight? Once again, I want to thank everybody for their extra efforts to get down here and deal with these matters.
And we got
Appreciate
through it in record time.
It's at 9 o'clock.
Okay, I guess I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Hello.
Second. Got a motion and a second, any discussion? All in favor of adjournment, say yes?
Yes.
Anybody opposed? We stand adjourned. Thank you all very much.